Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are so.
A big crowd is gathering here at Turner Field as Atlanta tries to sweep away the Miami Marlins. In fact, it's a sellout crowd. As the Braves and Fish play in Game 3 of the series, Chris Stapleton will perform afterwards as hopefully Atlanta can get things done here at home. Chip and Joe, great to be back at the ballpark. The Braves are 5-0 against the Marlins. They've scored 6 or more runs in 4 of those 5 games so far this year, Joe. And Gordon Beckham is a big reason why Atlanta's offense has been resurgent of late.
Yeah, and Gordon had a good series against the Marlins down in Miami earlier this year before he strained a hamstring. And now he has worn them out in the first 2 games of this series, including that big 3-run homer to give the Braves a little breathing room yesterday. He is really swinging the bat well. Heard from a scout today who said that Gordon has really shortened up his swing from years ago with the White Sox. That's a good sign, and it's led to some really good numbers with a little pop showing up too.
And you know the man on the mound for the Braves would really appreciate any kind of pop. Julio Teheran deserves a much better fate. He's pitched great with very little run support. Joe, will see if he gets some today.
Especially some early runs against Kohler would be nice.
Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South is presented by your local Hyundai dealers.
drive to third. It's off Prado's glove, and the Braves break through.
We've been swinging the bats well. Things will turn.
Swing and a drive. Hit deep toward left. Gillespie on the run. The ball is gone.
Oh, Gordon's having himself a pretty good homestand, isn't he?
We cashed in today.
So the Braves, before a packed house in Atlanta, have a chance to sweep the Miami Marlins. It's an absolutely gorgeous night for baseball. A warm, sunny evening. A breeze blowing from left to right as Julio Teheran will go to work for Atlanta, looking for only his second win. But Joe, that does not tell the story of his season in any way, shape, or form.
No, his most recent work, Chip, has been absolutely brilliant. 5 May starts and only 1 win to show for it, despite an 0.80 ERA, an opponent average of 162, and almost 6-to-1 strikeouts to walks. Only Clayton Kershaw has a better ERA this month. Julio has been outstanding. His 4 keys to pitching success today. Number 1, beware of the wizard. The Wizard of Oz, Zuna. Marcell Ozuna's 10 for 27 with a cut with a home run against him, and he's red hot. Be careful with him. Check the calendar, still May. He's had a great month. Finish it up on a high note.
And once again, Ichiro will lead things off for the Marlins. There you see the head-to-head numbers against Teheran for the Fighting Fish. They get Christian Yelich back in the batting order today. In fact, for the Marlins, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters are all ranked in the top 10 in National League batting average standings. So that'll be a challenge for him as the Braves try to hand the Marlins their 25th loss. And the first pitch of the day is in for a strike, and we're underway. 87 degrees at first pitch. Ichiro 1 for 7 in the series, and he backs away from that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ichiro, of course, getting extended playing time for the Marlins with Giancarlo Stanton still out with a side injury. We have not seen Stanton move a muscle off that Marlins bench this entire series. And a bouncing ball is foul for a 1-2 count.
Frustration for him. He took a little BP today. Didn't look good.
Pop fly foul off the bat of Ichiro. It's still a ball and 2 strikes. Wonder how long the Marlins can continue to carry Giancarlo Stanton on their active roster. If he can't play, they're playing a man down. Offense certainly hasn't been a problem for them, but fact of the matter is, if Stanton can't play, they might need to get somebody up here who can or pitch for them. Popped up. A.J. Pierzynski gives chase over near the screen, and no play. And Suzuki is still alive. And again, anytime you face the Marlins, you feel like you have a better chance of beating their team without Stanton in the lineup. But as I said about Yelich yesterday, the same applies for Giancarlo. As a fan, I want to see him swing the bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Crowd still filing in at the plaza, and that's upstairs. It's 2-2.
Julio had that career high 12 strikeouts against Milwaukee in his last start. Suzuki's a guy that's always been tough to strike out. His career high in 1 year in strikeouts was 86.
This one's lifted toward right center field. Markakis on the run, but the grab made by Inciarte, who came flying out of nowhere to get it. Boy, did he cover some ground. 1 out.
Yes, he did, and the wind was pushing that ball away from him. But an outfielder, especially a center fielder, loves this one. Look how far he went from over in left center field. He knew he was going to get there, and you're calling that one early. You're letting Nick know that I'm going to get there. That's the one you love as a center fielder.
Julio saying, how did he do that? Gorgeous play to get things started. 1 out. And here's Martin Prado. Martin 1 for 9 in the series. Began this set against the Braves as the toughest man in the National League to strike out. And quite frankly, he has not looked real good at the plate for the Miami club. 3 strikeouts yesterday. That's fouled at the plate. 1-1.
3 strikeouts yesterday. In his last at bat, he looked about as bad as you'll ever see Martin Prado wave at a pitch down and away from him. He was on his heels and really out of sync. 7 for his last 40, and yet he's still hitting .328.
Good for 5th in the league. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's driven down the right field line. That's headed for the sun-splashed fans. And Prado behind 1-2.
These guys make more contact than Milwaukee. Brewers are on a real roll in terms of strikeouts. So you don't expect Julio to rack up another double-digit day, but he's still got really good stuff already.
Prado thought that hit him on the way by. He was asking, he heard something, but Alfonso Marquez said, nope, didn't clip you.
Just a little brush back for his good friend.
Again to center. Inciarte charges in this time and gets there. Prado's retired. And Enders got 2 putouts in the top of the 1st inning. A look at the rest of the Atlanta defense. d'Arnaud gets the start at shortstop. Beckham at second. Freeman and Garcia are on the infield corners. Jeff Francoeur red hot. He's in left with Inciarte and Markakis in center and right. And A.J. Brzezinski gets the start with Julio Teheran on the mound.
Yeah, his first start in about 5 days. Tyler Flowers has been tearing it up, staying with a hot hand, much like Brian's staying with his hot hand in left field in Francoeur.
Here's Christian Yelich. Back spasms have sidelined him for most of this road trip for Miami. He's had a couple of pinch hit appearances in this series. First start for Yelich since May the 20th. And it floated over the outside corner.
Floated is a good description.
So from 71 to 91 miles an hour on back-to-back pitches, and Yelich now behind in the count.
Saw those good numbers for Yelich in his career against Atlanta, but 0 for his last 7 against the Braves, dating back to that series in Miami.
Right back where it came from and under Julio's glove. He's mad. He thought he should have speared that, but Yelich has the first Marlins hit of the day, and that'll bring up Marcell Ozuna.
AJ wanted a high pitch there. He gave him a high target for the fastball, and it was delivered pretty close to where AJ wanted it, but Yelich put it in play, and Julio's mad at himself for not gloving it. Here's the Wizard.
You bet. With a 10-game hitting streak extended in his last at bat yesterday, and 44 hits this month for Marcell Ozuna. As Joe mentioned, the Marlins outfielder is 10 for 27 against Julio with a homer.
With Yelich's back issues and just getting him back in the lineup, I don't know. I'd be surprised if he's running Good breaking ball to start him.
So you have a pitcher of the month candidate on the mound. You have a National League hitter of the month candidate in the box. Just missed. Look at these impressive numbers for Marcell Ozuna in May.
Yeah, the best batting average in the National League in May. Most hits. Everything else very good also. A batting average overall up to 341. And he credits Barry Bonds for really helping him.
Strike 2 called. 1-2 for Ozuna.
Got caught guessing there.
That's Tom Koehler, the Marlins starter. He awaits the bottom of the first inning. High fly ball toward right. Wind pushing that away from Markakis. Over near the stands. He runs out of room. So on a hot late afternoon, early evening start, Julio's going to need at least 22 pitches in the first inning. Still 1-2.
If you were with us at the beginning of this series, we talked about how the one big improvement for Ozuna that's led to his great month of May has been his ability to lay off pitches that he used to fish for, especially breaking balls from right-handers that were not strikes. And we've seen evidence of that already. But let's see if he can lay off another.
Sharply hit to short. And d'Arnaud will throw to first, and that will retire the side. That was a rocket. And Julio Teheran gives up a first inning hit, and that is all. Tom Koehler goes to work for the Marlins next. In May, well, Tom Koehler has been almost the polar opposite for the Marlins.
Check out these numbers for him. First time through the lineup, average-wise, 313. Second time, 302. He's given up 19 runs in the first 3 innings and only 9 in all others. So if that holds true and the Braves get some opportunities early take advantage.
And Joe, a lot of those runs are self-inflicted wounds. He can't find the strike zone.
Walking a lot of people.
And he misses with his first pitch to Ender Inciarte. Marlins have lost each of Kohler's last 5 starts. And a 5-point ERA in the month of May. But he gets a ground out to start his evening's work. Inciarte rolls out to second. He'll be followed by Gordon Beckham. Freddie Freeman hits third. Then Francoeur, Markakis, A.J. Pierzynski, Garcia, d'Arnaud, and Julio Teheran.
Pretty good numbers against Kohler mixed in there too, especially Markakis and A.J.
Downstairs to Gordon Beckham, who's having a great homestand. He's 6 for 17 with a couple of homers.
Kohler's got good stuff. There's no way he ought to have the kind of numbers he has. 90 to 94 fastball, a spike curveball, slider, and a changeup.
And here he is, 3-0.
Born in the Bronx, graduated from high school in New Rochelle, New York.
A 4-pitch free pass with 1 out in front of Freddie Freeman.
Early in the season, a lot of rough numbers for him and a high average against him. His last 4, despite all those walks, a 2.55 ERA, but an 0-2 mark.
And one of those bad outings came against the Braves on April 16th. Braves touched him for 6 runs, 9 hits, and 3 2/3 innings, his shortest home start in his career. Runner at first for Freeman, and he jumps on the first one, and that's skied out of play. No balls and a strike. Freddie fouled that off his foot. It looks like Kohler has a very violent delivery. There's almost a hitch before he releases the baseball.
It was off the knee. Yeah, he does, Chip. It's like once he breaks his hands, it's like everything gets accelerated. Like he's on a time limit to get it to the plate.
That's 2 in a row off Freddie's leg.
Kohler's a big guy. He's 29 years old, 6'3", 230. He was an 18th round pick. God, about the same place, at least on a hop.
Flag starched toward the right field corner. And that's way high. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The word on Kohler too was that he thought he should have been drafted a whole lot higher than the 18th round. He had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder in the minor leagues, worked his way through the minor leagues, earned everything along the way, and when he got to the big leagues felt like perhaps he should have even gotten there sooner. These pitches to Freddie after getting ahead in the count, they're nowhere near a pitch to get him to chase.
Right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Beckham at first with 1 out. And he missed, down and in again. Well, if the Marlins want to go to postseason play this year, they have to have some guys step up behind Jose Fernandez. Chen's pitched well. We liked Conley a lot. I think it's safe to say Kohler's been a disappointment for them to this point. As Beckham leads and draws a throw. Losing Jared Cozart to ineffectiveness and still the lingering effects of vertigo has been a setback for him and the franchise. Because when healthy, there's nothing wrong with this team's offense.
And most of their prize pitching prospects are in high A.
Runner goes. Pitch is low. Ball 4. Back-to-back walks. And here comes Jeff Francoeur, who's never faced Kohler. But as you said, Joe, as hot as he is, doesn't matter. Lefty, righty, he's going to play until he cools off.
Well, you know, he got a good scouting report from most every guy on the team because they all have faced him a lot. I'm sure Jeff watched some video, but take a look at what he's done over his last 11 games against right-handed pitching. A struggle before that, but it's not just lefties. He's wearing out right-handers too.
Jeff has 3 hits in this series. He's knocked in a couple of runs, and he sports a .292 average. And all of a sudden, Kohler can't throw a strike. 14 pitches, 10 balls to start.
That means if he's trying to throw a strike, he might throw one right down the middle.
Line, short hop, bobbled, flip to second. That's all they get. Rojas couldn't handle it cleanly, but didn't panic. He flipped to Dietrich for the second out. That forces Freddie Freeman, and the Braves have runners in the corners now with 2 down.
Good recovery by Rojas, and given the way things have gone for the Marlins in this series, that's one they were able to recover on.
Braves get a break. Danny Echeverria is their #1 shortstop. He's getting the afternoon off.
Nick Markakis told me before the ball game, he said, I don't care when I bat in the lineup, don't care what time of day it is, I just want to hit with guys on base. I like driving in runs, and I hate hitting with 2 out and nobody on.
Well, he's got his wish. And he smokes one to the left side out of play. Strike 1. Of Markakis's 28 RBIs, 9 of them have given the Braves the lead in a game.
I think it's safe to say, at least in the early going, that if you're patient, you'll probably get a good pitch to hit, or he'll walk you. But if you're overly aggressive, you're playing right into his hand and helping him out. Make him throw you a good pitch.
Ground ball right side. Dietrich to his left, and from the outfield grass bails out Kohler. He threw 18 pitches, only 7 strikes. Atlanta strands a pair and a scoreless first.
Dealers. Right stuff, low price every day.
Big crowd continues to file in and meander around the plaza, out by the Chop House, and in the seats as we await Chris Stapleton after our ball game today. No score after 1 inning. Julio Teheran threw, I believe, 23 pitches in his first inning. Tom Kohler threw 18, only 7 strikes in his opening frame. So hopefully Julio can have an easier time of it here in the Miami second. He'll face Bohr, Dietrich, and Rojas. Breaking strike.
I love that first pitch breaking ball to start an inning like that. Just to get over strike. Guys 99% of the time aren't looking for it, but it also sends a message to the other guys in the dugout that you've got it.
That missed inside. The Marlins wrap up this series with the Braves today. They have a 4-game series with the Pirates, 3 coming up with the Mets. One ball, 1 strike for Justin Bohr. And it's grounded foul. That series with the Pirates has an asterisk next to it because the original plan was for 2 of those games to be played in Puerto Rico. But the Pittsburgh Pirates players expressed a great deal of concern over the Zika virus. And so those games in Puerto Rico were canceled and moved to Miami.
Yeah, and it was a shame, a real disappointment for the folks in Puerto Rico because it was to celebrate Roberto Clemente. Had a lot of festivals and a lot of celebrations that were going to take place at the ballpark.
That's upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Another deep count for Julio. Gave up a Yelich hit with 2 outs in the opening inning, and Bohr didn't get the slider right across the top of his shoes. First strikeout for Teheran today. And here's the man from Georgia Tech, Derek Dietrich.
Great pitch down and in. Teheran in that start against Milwaukee did not strike out anyone in the first inning, but remember he fanned 4 in the second inning and then struck out the side in the third.
Yeah, he got tired after that second inning. Dietrich's had a nice series. He's 3 for 7. And with D. Gordon suspended, Dietrich's getting most of the playing time at second base. And I think Arbuckle told us that D. Gordon can come back July 19th, 20th, somewhere in that range. Excuse me, the 29th. For Miami.
That's 2 more months.
Yep.
They're lucky to have a guy like this, even though he's not really a leadoff hitter. They're lucky to have a guy that's hitting 300 and makes solid contact.
Ball 3. Question's always been, can Dietrich handle second base defensively every day? So far, so good. He's made only 2 errors. Three and 1. And Dietrich's aboard with a 1-out free pass. That's something Julio's done an excellent job of controlling. That's his bases on balls.
Yeah, did not walk anybody in that 7-inning stint against Milwaukee. That's his 7th walk this month. 3 of them came in one start at Kansas City.
Miguel Rojas. Strike one. Marlins are 15 and 11 this year on the road. But they're 7 games under 500 against their divisional rivals. That's going to be a problem for them. As Joe said, they're 0-5 against Atlanta. The Nationals have the most wins against the Eastern Division with 18. And if you want to win your division, you have to do good work within your division.
They've played well against Washington. They're 6-7 against them, but 2-4 against the Phillies, and have only played the Mets a 3-game series, and they won 2 out of 3 in New York. These guys went to L.A. and swept 4 games from the Dodgers and beat Kershaw.
Nothing in 2 for Rojas, and that's in the dirt. 1-2 your count. Here's the East up to the minute. Washington won its 30th game today. They clobbered the Cardinals 10-2. Jason Worth hit a grand slam for the Nationals today.
And if it weren't for the Braves, the Miami Marlins might be in first place.
And I know we've raved about the job Pete Mackanin has done for the Phillies, and rightfully so. I think it'd be wrong to not include Don Mattingly in that discussion. With Stanton out, with Yelich in and out of the lineup, and D. Gordon gone, here they are, just 3.5 games out of first before today's play began. One-two count. And the way Mattingly was described to me by someone who travels on the beat for the Fish is he has brought an incredible calming influence to that Marlins organization and to that clubhouse.
It's quite a compliment.
Two and two for Rojas. And he fouls one off his foot.
A lot of pitches per batter so far for Julio. And it is a hot day.
His next will be number 40. Out of play to the right side. Another foul ball.
They're just spoiling a lot of pretty good pitches. Like I said, Milwaukee swings and misses a lot. These guys don't. How about a double play ball, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
There's the ground ball to short. There's one. There's two. I'm working with Nostradamus tonight.
Jostra.
Sorry, excuse me. Jostradamus called it, and Teheran delivered it. We head to the home second.
Was tailor-made. A little bit of an in-between hop there for Chase, but an easy turn for Gordon. I don't know that Rojas was very happy about it.
Obviously the helmet's fault.
Apparently the helmet kind of got up down over his eyes and he couldn't see.
So Kohler back to work in a scoreless game. Your point about strikeouts is a real good one. The Brewers had 42 strikeouts in that series against the Braves. One of them was a 13-inning game. There was a record set earlier this month for most strikeouts by a team in a 3-game series. Baltimore struck out 52 times in 3 games against Houston's staff.
My goodness. Boy, they've got some guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, though. I know that.
Yeah. So 1 strikeout for Teheran. The double play helps him minimize his pitches, and now A.J. Pierzynski digs in. A couple of reasons why A.J.'s in the lineup tonight. Right-handed pitcher on the mound, and very good numbers against Tom Kohler. A.J.'s 8 for 17 against him. And this one's skied toward left. Yelich near the line is there, and A.J. skies out, 1 man down. Here's Adonis Garcia. Remember, the Braves sent him down to Gwinnett so that he would learn how to play left field. The plan was for him to come back here and play some left field, but the great work by Jeff Francoeur has made Adonis Garcia a third baseman again for now. But they told him, hey, be ready to play both positions here in Atlanta.
And Brian Snitker wants his bat in the lineup because he was so hot at Gwinnett. He may be the pick to click today.
To short, a worm burner. And Rojas makes the play. There's the second out.
Kohler won 11 games for the Fish last year. He was 11-14, had an ERA of right at 4. He's won 28 games in his career. This is Chase's first start at short, isn't it?
I think you might be right. He's played some second. I know he's played third. And is that one misses low? Yes, it is. Ibar
and Castro are the only two men that have started at shortstop for the Braves coming into play tonight. Woo! 1-2. This is start number 111 for Tom Koehler in the major leagues. As Rojas to his left, set up nicely and got him by a quarter step at first. 3 up and 3 down for Miami's starter. We go to the 3rd inning. Is Brian Snitker going to challenge the call? It looks like he is not. And d'Arnaud clearly out at first. No score. We go to the 3rd.
Field between the Braves and the Marlins going into the 3rd inning. And Chip and Joe, you guys talked a little bit about Chase d'Arnaud in shortstop. You know, he was scheduled to start there yesterday, making his first start here in Atlanta as shortstop. He was actually drafted as a shortstop, and he told me that when he was in Gwinnett, he played a little bit of shortstop for Snitker, and he also played in center field. He's trying to prove his versatility for this team. And he's definitely showing it, an athlete where you can really put him anywhere in the field, and he's probably going to make plays for you and be effective at the plate, guys.
Thanks, Kelsey. And 34 career starts at short. That's more than any other position on the diamond for Chase d'Arnaud. He just hasn't been healthy enough to stay in the lineup anywhere in the big leagues.
Well, he's got a terrific arm, and certainly a big enough arm to play short.
So Julio back to work with Mathis, the catcher, Koehler, the pitcher, and then Ichiro. And on cue, d'Arnaud plays that off his chest and can't recover in time to get Mathis. E6, leadoff man aboard for the Fish.
A little bit of an in-between hop off the heel of his glove. Catcher running. He thought he might have still had a play, but thought better of it.
Marlins don't bunt a lot, but Koehler probably will be here. And he takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. 13 at bats for Koehler, 8 strikeouts, 1 sacrifice. And now an even count. Cubs won again today. They beat the Phillies. 7-2 was the final. Cubs are 20 games over 500, 34-14 now. Arizona leading San Diego 6-2. Giants over Colorado 6-2. San Fran will fly to Atlanta after their game at Coors Field today. They are supposed to touch down around midnight tonight. And a 1 o'clock Memorial Day start here tomorrow.
Sounds like the schedule maker had it in for the Giants like they did for the Braves when Atlanta had to fly from Boston to Chicago and play a day game.
Popped up and an easy play for Freddie Freeman. So Kohler can't help himself with a bunt. There's the first out, and here comes Ichiro. There's no denying that Ichiro is an incredible physical specimen. He is as ripped and cut and in baseball shape as a player probably half his age. The question is, how much can he play for the Marlins in place of Giancarlo Stanton? And by that I mean, does playing 5-6 days in a row wear him down and make him less effective?
I think they're already noticing some ill effects of that. He's walked some in this series, but only 1 hit. He's 1 for 8.
Line toward right. Markakis gives ground and makes the catch. 2 flyouts for Ichiro. Mathis back to first. 2 outs for Martin Prado.
That ball was hit on the button.
Martin Prado lined out to center his first time up. Three balls, no strikes.
Julio didn't think much of that call. Alfonso Marquez, the home plate umpire today.
That one called a strike. And Prado with a 2-out walk. Mathis to second. And now Yelich is coming up, and he smoked a single back through the middle, his first and only time up.
When you're striking a lot of people out, it looks like you're in a great rhythm. Pace, everything is clicking. You're not getting to too many deep counts, which I don't think he did against Milwaukee. They were free swingers. That's not been the case today. Much more deliberate.
And now AJ will talk it over.
Slow curve again.
It's been a good pitch all day for him. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Man, oh man.
2-1. I don't know if there is a lack of a comfort level with AJ Pierzynski, or they're not on the same page as to how to attack these hitters, but it is, as you said, a noticeable difference in pace and efficiency for Julio today.
Well, that's a good point. He's been throwing to Tyler Flowers almost exclusively.
Grounded foul past Perry Hill, the Marlins first base coach, and the count is now full.
It's not supposed to be a big deal to have a different guy back there, but the way he's been pitching, he definitely was in a comfort zone working with Tyler.
Well, there's a big pitch in the ball game, number 59. Full count to Christian Yelich, who steps out.
AJ tapped his chest protector, said, "Oh, that was on me. That was my fault."
Now Julio's ready. The runners lead. The runners go. And Yelich broke his bat. Freeman with a sliding stop saved at least 1 run. Gorgeous play by Freddie Freeman. Julio Teheran likes that. And we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Still no score. Excellent defense by the Braves first baseman. Effective 3 scoreless innings of work, and the Braves defense turns in a nice effort here. Our Toyota key play.
Yeah, he saved 1 run for sure, and maybe 2 if that gets down in the corner. It's possible that Prado could have scored from first. Nice snag there by Freeman.
So Julio's hanging in there. He stranded 3 Marlins base runners, and he'll start things off in the Atlanta third. Boy, you just feel like he get this guy a run as well as he's pitched, and he can take it from there. Just take a little bit of the pressure off him offensively.
Right. Showed bunt, now hit one in the seats.
One ball, one strike as the shadows creep across the infield toward the third base slope of the pitcher's mound. Did he go? He did. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Julio tried to do his best David Justice impersonation there. Just leave the bat right there. That's where it stopped.
Ground ball toward Rojas. And he's got plenty of time to take care of Teheran. And there's the first out. Back to the top at Inciarte. Braves won 7-2 yesterday. Aaron Blair hung in there. 2 runs in his 5 2/3 innings. Braves did an excellent job of wearing down Wei-Yin Chen in the 4th and 6th innings. I would assume, Joe, that's a game plan that would work against Kohler with all the walks that he's been issuing for the Marlins this month. Walked 2 in the first, but the Braves couldn't cash him in.
4 ground ball outs out of his last 5 would lead you to believe that he's somewhere around the plate making pitches he wants to make and getting the Braves to hit him on the ground. It's a good sign for Kohler.
We've talked a lot about the growing pains that the Braves young staff has been going through from time to time this year. I don't know if you can still call Kohler a young starter anymore. He's made 111 starts now in the major leagues and really hasn't yet taken that big step forward that a man with his stuff frankly would expect to take.
Agreed. 29 years old.
And he's never had a winning record. His best season was a 10-10 year with a 3.81 ERA in 2014. Now, some of that can be traced to the club he plays for. The Marlins have had their share of struggles the last 3 or 4 years.
Yep, they really need him to at least pitch 500 ball, if not a little better. 2 and 5 coming in. If he was 4 and 3, things would look a lot differently for him.
But another walk, and that's 3 in the game. And now he's heading into the part of the lineup that's done an awful lot of damage for the Braves over the last week. Against lefties, righties, it hasn't mattered. Look at what Gordon Beckham has done on the Academy Sports leaderboard.
340 mark against him. 6 for his last 14 with a couple of homers, hit in 4 straight. Really goes back over 3 weeks ago. He's hit almost 350 overall in the last 24 games.
Close play at first. Inciarte back. And would you agree with that scout's assessment that you were talking about on our pregame hit about Beckham?
No doubt. He has had a real short stroke. I don't really have anything to compare it to from the White Sox, but it's been a short swing compared to, say, what he was swinging, the way he was swinging at the beginning of the season. And with a short stroke, he's been able to hit the ball with authority to right field and right center.
Ender measures off a good lead, not going, and breaking ball for a strike. White Sox lost again today, 5-4 to Kansas City. Another bullpen collapse for Robin Ventura's Pale Hose, and now he's starting to hear from the press and the fans on Chicago's South Side. They were in first place just a few days ago.
So that they had like a 7-game lead in the division, and now he's an idiot.
They were planning the parade.
Yeah.
And then they found out that the route that Robin Ventura picked out had too many potholes. It's funny how it works, right?
Yeah.
One ball, one strike. Math is a nice stop. It's 2-1. That AL Central is a wild race. Excepting Minnesota, first place to fourth place separated by 2.5 games. With Cleveland, the Indians.
Yeah, how about the Indians?
We'll see the Tribe later this summer. Happy for Terry Francona. He's a great baseball guy managing the Cleveland club. And our pal Tom Hamilton, longtime Indians radio broadcaster. You know, he's enjoying the early start. Now it's 2-1 for Beckham. And a ground ball toward Rojas. He didn't know he had it. Stepped on the bag and threw to first. Rojas wasn't sure. But the Braves have hit into their first double play. And this game moves to the fourth inning with no score. Marcell Ozuna will lead things off for the Fish. June 11th, and watch the Braves and Cubs at 4 p.m. Check out what movie we'll be playing at Braves.com/movie. It'll be the perfect ending to an exciting afternoon at the ballpark. And we are being told it's one of the classic movies of all time that'll be played after the Braves-Cubs movies, or Braves-Cubs game.
Magnificent Seven.
Almost.
Oh.
You're close. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, it's a good one, too. A lot of Cubs tie in there.
Right. Marcell Ozuna leads off. And that's off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Ozuna with a 10-game hitting streak. He's got a 35-game on-base streak on the line today. And did you know there's only one player in the National League with more hits so far than Marcell Ozuna? And that's the National second baseman Daniel Murphy.
Julio did this a couple of times an inning or two ago, where he finished a pitch and kind of bounced and got off his, I think, his left foot. And he just did it again, and A.J. Pierzynski wanted to know. Right foot. He's telling the dugout he's okay. Didn't he do that in his last start?
He did. And he was kicking at or scraping that first base side of the rubber right before he made that pitch. So not sure if his spike stuck. And now 2-1 count. Good pitch, 2-2. He's got them all working. He just needs some quick resolutions to these Marlins at bats.
Osuna hit that fastball so hard in the first inning. It was just a laser one hopper to d'Arnaud. Chase didn't even have time to get out of the way of it. He had to catch it.
And here we go again with all those foul balls. And Julio again started looking at that right leg again, and this time Jim Lovell's going to pop out and talk to Julio Teheran. After he made that last pitch, he bent over and put his hand on his right leg. I'm not sure what's hurting him, but something appears out of sorts.
It's like his knee right here. Knee, or it looked like kind of a stretch of his hamstring too. He's not giving in on anything to either Lovey or to Brian Snitker.
And that was not an official visit to the mound. That was an injury check. And with that, Alfonso Marquez notified the Marlins with the closed fist as if to say no visit. So the Braves still have their complement of 2 if they need to contemplate a pitching change here in the Miami 4th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We'll keep an eye on Teheran. Little looper into center field by Ozuna, and that's an 11-game hitting streak for him, and his 45th hit this month. That's 2 away from Chris Coghlan, who has the record of 47.
Like a pretty good pitch too. Fastball, 2-seamer that ran in on him, and all he did was fight it off, and he's a strong guy.
Julio has 1 strikeout today, and this is the man that whiffed. Justin Bour punched out to start inning number 2. Bour didn't mean to, and he fouled it at the plate. That's a break. 1 ball, 1 strike. See the tape job on the left hand of Justin Bour. He injured his fingers a couple of weeks ago, had to miss a couple of games. No batting gloves, big burly stance. And upstairs, ball 2. 2-1 the count.
It's almost like Julio's trying to get his foot back on the rubber as fast as he can to make it look like there's nothing wrong with him. But I'm not sure he can hide it.
Ford took off the sunglasses and the next one missed. Julio is not the same guy right now. 3 balls and a strike. That's downstairs. Teheran wanted the call, didn't get it. And it's a single and a walk. 2 on, nobody out for Miami in the 4th inning. And it's time for tonight's Quicken Loans Rocket Arms feature.
How about these May ERAs? Only Clayton Kershaw has one better than Julio. And Drew Pomeranz continues to pitch great baseball for the Padres. The Braves will see Madison Bumgarner here at Turner Field next Thursday.
Dietrich walked his first time up and was erased on a Rojas double play. And a strike.
He may have to start using that slow curve a little more often because it's been a good pitch.
Nobody's throwing in the Braves bullpen. They were stirring when Brian Snitker came to the mound. But everybody's sitting and watching Julio pitch as that one missed badly inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I don't know how that missed Dietrich.
Two on, nobody out. Best chance for Miami today. Line drive over short. That'll drop for a hit. Ozuna had to hold up, and the Marlins have the bases loaded with nobody out.
Well, 2 flares and a walk. And he is in the soup.
Well, Rojas hit into a double play his last time up. Maybe he'll oblige here. And with the bases loaded, that might get the Braves bullpen busy. Starting to stir out there.
If for no other reason than he just doesn't look right.
Right.
Alexi Ogando beginning to pinwheel his arm. Rojas hits a comebacker to the mound for a 1-2-3 double play. There's no telling what he'll do to that helmet.
Heck, he might have a new one already. Can't see any scuff marks on the top of the one he's sporting now, as Julio missed outside again. 2-0. He's not himself. This is not how Julio has pitched this month. 78 pitches, 44 strikes, 34 balls. That is not a ratio we're used to seeing from Teheran.
Not in the 4th inning.
That pitch has been his best. He took a fastball right down the middle.
Yeah, that was a great 2-0 offering on the curveball, and I think he must have gotten Rojas looking for it. That was a bad take with the bases loaded to take a fastball there.
Now you think about a strikeout. If you can get it, you've got the catcher Mathis coming up, and he'd be a double play candidate. But first, the 2-2 pitch. It's lined to the right side, and a fan from Chamblee makes the play. Rojas was originally signed by the Reds as a non-drafted free agent. Dodgers got him in 2012 as a minor league free agent. Marlins got him in a trade with the Dodgers with D. Gordon. Andrew Heaney, Chris Hatcher, Kike Hernandez, and Austin Barnes went to the Dodgers in that 2014 deal.
Well, he's getting out on that front foot, trying to make sure that he puts the ball in play, trying everything he can to avoid a strikeout. So maybe another off-speed pitch that's where he can't reach it.
To first. Freeman will go to second for one. Nobody to the first base bag. The Braves can't complete the double play. So Atlanta gets a force out of Dietrich at second. Ozuna scores the game's first run, and the Marlins have them first and third now with one out.
Good feed there, but again, d'Arnaud wanted to try to get it back to first base as quickly as he could, but see, Julio wasn't sure where the play was going to go. He didn't know if it was going to go home, and he was actually looking toward home like he might have to go back up there, and that's why he was late to the bag.
So 1-0 Fish. Here's Mathis. First and third with one out. He grounded to short, reached on an error. And that's out of play. Strike one. Mathis, a perfect complement to JT Realmuto behind the plate. Realmuto, a kid. Mathis got to the big leagues for the first time with the Angels in 2005. And plied his trade for Mike Scioscia, who is as demanding a taskmaster of his catchers as any manager ever has been.
And Mathis is a solid catch and throw guy.
No balls, one strike. As the story goes, during spring training, Mike Scioscia would ask his catchers to come into the dugout after his defensive inning was over and have his catcher recite every pitch that his pitcher threw in the inning in order and why. And so they learned really how to think independently and call the games themselves. Think about how hard that must be if you have a long inning and your skipper says, all right, take me through the Francoeur at bat and then the Simpson bat. And
I tell you right now, I'd be making up a lot.
I'll bet you Mike Scioscia kept a chart, so there was no cheating on that test.
Yeah, then it was a slider down and away. Well, this chart shows fastball. Oh no, it was a slider. Trust me.
It backed up.
Yeah.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And 2-2. Julio is trying to will himself through this 4th inning.
That's a good description.
Strike 3. Mathis took it over the outside corner.
There's that curveball again. Actually a slider. And a beaut.
Well, now you've got the pitcher up with 2 outs and 2 on. Only 1 run in. The Marlins had the bases loaded and nobody out. Kohler tried to bunt last time up and popped out to Freddie Freeman. And he's a strike away from doing an amazing Houdini job.
He sure is. Bases loaded and nobody out to this ball club. And the way they've been swinging the bat on the road, it would be outstanding to just give up 1.
Julio's ready. Here's the 0-2. And strike 3, belt high right down the middle. So Miami loads the bases with nobody out. They settle for 1 run. Julio Teheran at 91 pitches. We'll see if he continues in a 1-0 Miami game. Gabe Brzezinski talking over what they see out of Julio Teheran. There was some sort of a physical issue that Julio said was fine and allowed him to stay in the game. Miami loaded the bases with nobody out and only 1 run came home. So we'll see if Teheran comes back out when the Marlins bat in the 5th. In the meantime, Tom Kohler, leading by a run, has to face Freddie Freeman to start the inning. And our Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Coors Light.
Braves this season against Miami undefeated, 9-34 against everybody else. Double the number of runs. Runners in scoring position. They're just lighting up the fish. And again, I go to the bullpen ERA. They have been virtually unhittable against the Miami offense. The bullpen's been outstanding. 19 innings, 16 strikeouts, and just a 167 average against the pen.
Freeman, Francoeur, and Markakis. Tom Koehler's walked 3. Braves have left 2 on base. Koehler aided by a double play last time around. Freddie's got 7 hits against the Fish this year. He's knocked in a couple of runs. And almost got hit. High fly ball toward the left field corner. Yelich on the run near the line. Makes the grab and slams into the padded wall. That'll make a bad back feel a little worse, but a nice running catch by Yelich to take away a hit for Freeman.
Make Freddie feel even worse than that. I thought he might have hit a homer. Yelich never gave up on it.
Here's Jeff Francoeur. He bounced into a 6-4 force play his first time up and thought that was down and away, and Fox Tracks said it was. I got to tell you, I don't think it'd be a whole lot of fun grabbing a bat against this guy right now.
Uncomfortable, to be sure.
More balls than strikes from Koehler, yet he hasn't given up a run or a hit yet. 2-2.
Got away with one there.
And Mathis is going to talk about that.
High backup slider that he's lucky Jeff didn't hit the Roswell.
Full count. And Francoeur draws a walk. That's number 4 for Koehler. Wait him out. See if he'll pitch himself into a big mess. As we mentioned earlier, Koehler has been a walking machine for Miami. Markakis batted with runners first and third in the first and grounded out to end the inning. And this one in at the knees. Koehler's walked 5 men in each of his last 3 starts. He's got 4 so far today. Made 2 of his best pitches back-to-back to Markakis.
Well, knowing his numbers in his recent starts with all those walks, if he gets in much trouble, I'm sure Don Mattingly's going to have his bullpen up quickly.
Pop fly foul.
He was quick, Mattingly was, to go get Conley the other night. Took him out in the middle of the 5th inning. Not that Conley was pitching great. He'd given up a couple of runs, but it was a tie game.
That's foul past first. And Markakis is still alive. Milwaukee beat the Reds today 5-4. Boy, see how Cincinnati snapped their long losing streak last night.
I heard they got a break on
a double play that wasn't on review. Allowed the go-ahead run to score. 7-6 was the final yesterday. And that just missed low. It was a beanball war in Milwaukee last night. There were 6 hit batsmen in the game. And the Reds came from 5 runs down to snap an 11-game losing streak. That's down the right field line. That's going to turn to gold. Frenchie around second, on his way to third. Ichiro's got it on the warning track. And Bo Porter will stop Francoeur. The Braves have him at second and third with 1 out. As Markakis with a bolt into the right field corner.
How did he keep that ball fair? And he put a good swing on that. Something inside. 13th double. Down and in. I thought it was a little higher than that, like up around his belt, but down and in where he could drop the barrel on it. Nice stop here by the Marlins catcher to keep that throw on a relay from Dietrich from getting by him.
So a hit might score you 2. A fly ball might score you 1 and get it tied. That's the first hit of the day for the Braves. Nick Markakis with a 1-out double. And Kohler overthrew that. 1 ball, no strikes. Fly ball left. Yelich is coming in. There's the catch. Francoeur's coming. Here comes the throw. It's going to be cut off. Throw back to second. Too high. And A.J. Pierzynski brings home Francoeur with a sacrifice fly to left. He's in double digits in RBIs. And Yelich got absolutely nothing on that throw.
Nothing at all. That may have been in the thought process, decision-making process of Bo Porter and Jeff. And he hasn't been out there in about a week. Why not test him? Came to the ball nicely, but footwork was bad, killed any momentum he had, and he barely got it to the relay man.
So the game is tied at 1, and Adonis Garcia bats with a runner at second and 2 outs. So the Braves finally cash in one of those Kohler walks. And that's off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Mile high pop, the wind pushing that toward the stands. Ichiro over. One ball, 1 strike.
Last 3 games for Kohler. 15 walks, 14 strikeouts. Today's game 4-0.
But doesn't that tell you how good this guy could be? I mean, you throw a 3.06 ERA with more walks than strikeouts. Yes, he's lost 2 games, but he's kept them in the games.
He's got a good curveball. That spike curveball is good. His fastball is good enough. It's about fastball location.
Something you talked about last night. You can have great stuff, but if you can't throw it for strikes or get strikes with it, Doesn't matter.
Yeah, Chen can throw it for strikes anytime he wants to. Why me Chen? But they want him to throw some pitches when he gets ahead in the count that aren't such good strikes.
He has that luxury here with a 1-2 count for Garcia. And it's out of play, foul.
And that was a bad pitch. That was nowhere near the location. But fortunate for him, bad enough, high enough that all Adonis could do is foul it off.
Better idea with that one. And a good eye by Garcia to take it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Miami scored at the top of the 4th. The Braves have answered here in the bottom half. A 1-out walk, a 1-out double by that man, Nick Markakis, and an A.J. Pierzynski sacrifice fly brought home Jeff Francoeur. Ground ball to second. Dietrich to his right, vacuums that up, and the throw to first is in time. 4 walks through 4 innings for Tom Koehler. The last one cost him a first Atlanta run. We go to the 5th. Game for Braves Live presented by Xfinity. We'll check in with Brian Snitker and hear from the Braves as they try to complete a 3-game sweep over the Marlins, something Atlanta has done a lot. They have swept the Marlins 9 times since 2011. And there's good news. Julio Teheran is back to work as we go to the 5th inning. He's got the top of the Marlins order to get things started.
Julio did a great job without his best stuff to get out of that bases loaded, no out jam last inning, allowing only 1.
Ichiro pops it left side. Garcia to the rail. Not enough room. Hey, great catch. They're from Athens, Georgia.
And patriotic.
Or maybe Americus, now that I think of it.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike. Soft fly ball to left, and Francoeur will make the play. Ichiro bails and wails with the best of them, doesn't he? He's almost headed toward first base when he attempts to make contact.
And it doesn't matter what the pitch is. He's already out on his front foot. And then if it's something off speed like that pitch, then he just slows his hands down and tries to flip it to left field for a base hit. But got under that one.
So Ichiro's 0 for 3. Martin Prado's 0 for 1. He's flied out and walked. And that's upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. Popped up. Prado broke his bat. And A.J. Pierzynski with a two-handed catch. A.J.'s red hot. I think he's caught 3 of those in a row now.
I think so. He's on fire.
And here's Yelich. This figures to be Julio's last inning. Pitcher's spot is due in the Braves' 5th in the 2nd spot on the lineup card. So get him out here. Maybe Atlanta can get a run and give Julio a chance to win it. 1 ball, no strikes.
Funny part about that pop-up was that Freddie Freeman was closing in an attempt to catch it, and then when he saw that A.J. was right there, he took a defensive stance just in case it popped out of A.J.'s glove.
That was one of the lighter moments of the season for the Braves in Philadelphia when A.J. caught a pop-up and kind of jumped for joy. Not close. 3 balls, no strikes. Bouncing ball right side. Freddie's got it. Julio moves free and easy to the bag, and that retires the side. 3 up, 3 down. We're through 4.5.
of the 5th, and it is time for your Xfinity game break. We'll take you over to Washington, where the Nationals are hosting the Cards. 7th inning, bases juiced, and Jason Wirth in a pinch hit, and he hits a grand slam to center to give the Nationals an 8-2 lead over St. Louis. That was his 6th career grand slam, and guys, I think that makes up for the time when the Cardinals had 3 pinch hit home runs against the Braves, but the Nationals go on to take this one. 10-2 is your final.
So easy a caveman can do it, Kelsey.
Pinch hit grand slam, not too shabby.
So a big win for the Nationals today. Here we're tied at 1 apiece. d'Arnaud, Teheran, and Inciarte are coming up. And the first pitch is lifted toward left center field. Ozuna goes back, and shy of the track is there. d'Arnaud just missed it. He tried to ambush the first pitch of the inning. And he's out number 1, and Julio is going to bat for himself. Remember, the Braves are a little short on their bench. They are carrying 13 pitchers in today's game. And with only 2 catchers on the roster, you're really almost down 2 because you don't like to use that backup catcher in case of injury. So with a high pitch count for Teheran and a 1-1 game, Brian Snitker might try to squeeze another frame out of Julio and then take it from there. Again to center, and Dietrich drifts out in front of Ozuna and makes the catch. A soft fly ball handled by Derek Dietrich, and just like that, 2 are out.
Well, I asked Eddie Perez today before the game that I said, could you be the emergency catcher? Pretty much gave me the nod of, oh yeah, I'm ready. And I said, well, I know you've been hitting a little bit lately. He goes, yeah, did you see it? And I said, no, but I heard about it. He goes, oh yeah, who told you? And I said, you. Oh yeah, I forgot. He was hitting some balls in the seats the other day.
Inciarte with 2 outs. And in case you wondered who the emergency catcher for the Braves is, I believe it is Chase d'Arnaud. Anders' average going in the right direction. He's at 233 right now, and that one's lined to short. And that will take care of Atlanta. A very easy inning for Tom Koehler. He needed one of those. He only needed 6 pitches.
Is sponsored by Sherwin-Williams, your local Ford dealer, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Well, the big crowd here in Atlanta, great to see the huge ovation for Rafael Furcal as he got to peel off one of the numbers on our Turner Field countdown.
Check it out. And then he got a hug.
They were teammates on that 2005 Braves club.
One of the best shortstops to ever wear a Braves uniform. Former Rookie of the Year. Great speed, great arm. I mean, you know, we heard the same things about Rafael in the lower minors that we hear about Ozzie Albies, you know, at a very young age. Couldn't wait for Furcal to get here too.
So Julio Teheran back to work as we move to inning number 6. 1-1 game. Ozuna pops this one up. And Inciarte is under it, and he's got it. And there's out number 1. You mentioned Ozzie Albies. He went 1 for 5 with an RBI last night for Gwinnett. Dansby Swanson hit his 4th homer for Mississippi. They beat Jacksonville 6-2.
Has he still got his hitting streak going?
He does not. He had 2 hits on the night. He's hitting .294 at AA. Rob Whalen, who came over from the Mets in the Kelly Johnson deal, he struck out 8.
Argyle told me that Dansby got shut out Friday night. That's when his streak was snapped.
But a .294 average at AA. He's doing good work. As Justin Bour digs in and takes ball 2. Bour has struck out and he has walked. That's popped to the left side and into the seats. Now it's 2-1. I liked what you said the other day about Justin Bour and how he fits in with this Marlins club. He is a guy that can hide behind Giancarlo Stanton. He can hide behind Christian Yelich to a certain degree, and by that I mean not take a back seat to them. But those two guys are either superstars or considered to be superstars or on the cusp of superstardom. Bet you most people around Major League Baseball don't know much about this guy. Heck, a lot of people in Miami don't know about this guy.
That's true. Provides them some pretty good protection behind Stanton if you pitch around him. Still got to contend with this guy who's got a lot of power.
Full count pitch. And a shot past Freddie Freeman. That thing whistled into the right field corner. And Bour is going to have a 1-out double.
I mean, he looks like those guys that were here hitting softballs in the seats last night or night before. What are those guys called? The long haul bombers?
The long haul bombers, yeah.
Good grief. I mean, he could fit in nicely with them.
So 7 doubles for Bour. He represents the lead run. And Derek Dietrich is the batter who's walked and singled. Dietrich's had a good month, hitting .322 in May. Marlins have played .500 ball this month. 13 wins, 13 losses. And again, you must repeat, who they don't have playing for them is almost as impressive as who they do have. Gordon, Stanton, and until today, very little of Yelich. Ground ball foul. Strike 1. High fly ball belted deep right field, and Markakis knows that's long gone. Way out of here. A 2-run homer for Dietrich.
Telling you, there's a lot to like about Dietrich. And he hit that one halfway up the terrace level.
And at pitch 113, that'll be the end of the line for Julio Teheran. And he knew it the moment it left the bat. So instead of a 1-1 game, it's now a 3-1 game in favor of Miami. Teheran not 100%, it would appear, and Atlanta's offense has provided him with 1 run and 1 hit of support again. Back to Atlanta as the Marlins have struck with a 2-run homer. They lead 3-1. Or a homer by Dietrich that traveled 432 feet. And our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot is Atlanta's work against the Marlins out of the bullpen.
Yeah, take a look at it. 0.93 in 19+ innings. ERA against everybody else almost 5, but they've had the Marlins number to this point.
I'm sure a question that'll be asked of Brian Snitker after the game is high pitch count for Teheran. Extra arm available tonight. You tried to get him through 6. What was his thought process regarding that? Won't know until after the game. As Miguel Rojas takes a strike from Ogando, it's 0-1.
No, I don't have any issue at all with it. He's been the best pitcher you've got, and he may not have his best stuff today. My question would be what's wrong with him? He's been hopping around on the mound like there's something wrong with his leg or foot, who knows, but you know, that would be my first question.
Well, and if he says he's healthy, then yeah, I agree with you. Send him back out. But 2 hard hit balls chase him here in the Marlins 6th. And that's up and away to Rojas from Ogando. 2 balls and a strike. Up the middle, d'Arnaud to his left, glides and throws a laser to first. He is slick. Pretty play, 2 out.
Tell you what, he got over there and got in front of that ball. Didn't have to do any 360 spin or anything. Watch him get to this and be in a good position to throw.
Yeah, many times a ball like that will hit the slope of the mound and help the shortstop. No such luck for d'Arnaud, and he didn't need it. Full 3 steps ahead of Rojas. Here's Mathis, 2 outs, bases are empty, and that stayed letter high, 1-0. Freeman long run. And he won't get there. St. Simons, I think the hat gave it away.
Yeah. A lot of bucket hats down there.
One ball, one strike. Looking ahead to the Braves half of this 6th inning. Beckham, Freeman, and Francoeur will be coming up against Tom Koehler. To the left side, off Garcia's glove, and that'll trickle into shallow left field. Mathis a big turnaround first, and he's aboard with a 2-out single.
Yesterday it was the Braves bouncing hoppers off the third baseman's glove. Martin Prado ricocheting balls behind Echeverria. And tonight it's the Braves that have it happen to them.
That's what a third baseman's supposed to do, though, right? Any ball he thinks he can get to, he's got to go for it.
Yep.
So at the very least, the Marlins clear the pitcher. Tom Koehler's up. He's popped out and struck out. Ball one. Arizona beat the Padres 6-3 today. That game in Phoenix. Diamondbacks won 8-7 last night. And a drive toward right. Nick Markakis shields his eyes, and he puts it away. And that retires the side. A 2-run homer by Georgia Tech's Derek Dietrich gives Miami a 3-1 lead.
Sports South. Hyundai on Fox Sports South is presented by your local Hyundai dealers.
Don't forget to stay with us after the ball game for Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. Big crowd here at Turner Field. We are told that this game was sold out. In fact, the Braves were selling standing room tickets early this morning for the wrap up with the Marlins, and of course the big concert afterwards. Chris Stapleton getting ready, and hopefully the Braves can come back and give him a cheerful audience to play in front of here on the Sunday before Memorial Day in Atlanta.
That center field plaza right now is bumper to bumper. Folks making their way to their seats in the upper deck too, filling it in. I would guess, Chip, that Kohler is on a very tight leash right here.
You would think.
He has the lead, but if he starts walking guys, I would guess the bullpen will be in a heartbeat.
Well, the Braves have the right guys at the right time coming up. 2, 3, and 4 on the lineup card. Gordon Beckham will start it. He's walked and hit into a double play. And Kohler gets ahead with a strike. 1 run, 1 hit for the Braves today. When you talk about a pitcher being effectively wild, this might be Exhibit A.
Back-to-back spike curve balls. Some people call it a knuckle curve with his index finger propped up on the seams.
Little tapper out toward Dietrich. And he flips to first in time. Beckham's out number 1. Freddie Freeman hit one to the left field fence last time up. Christian Yelich caught it and then slammed into the padding. If the wind had been blowing toward left, it probably would have left the ballpark. Wind is blowing from left to right, so that might have helped the Marlins outfielder. Nothing in 1. One and 2.
And that curveball is a downer right over the top.
It's almost like he's taking a page out of Julio's book. Because he hasn't thrown his fastball for strikes much in this game. And he barely missed with that breaking pitch.
I don't think he did.
Oh, it sounded like a ball, though, for
yeah,
Alfonso Marquez. Two balls, 2 strikes. That's rolled toward Bohr. He will take it to first himself. And 2 ground outs to the right side get Atlanta's 6th inning underway. And Jeff Francoeur is the batter, the only Brave to score today, and the subject of our Greatness Made Here feature presented by Synovus.
and his last 7 games have been outstanding. Extra base hits. Started in Pittsburgh with some long balls. 545 average. He has walked in 2 trips today.
Swing and a rocket hit toward left, and Yelich with a shoestring grab hauls it in.
Oh, you're kidding.
A sinking line drive speared by Christian Yelich at the very last moment. Francoeur is called out. The Braves might want to take a look and see if this was trapped.
I don't believe it was. What a catch on a missile hit out there.
Yelich with a great grab, breaks Francoeur's heart and sends us to the 7th, where the Marlins lead 3-1. Send a shout out to our hometown hero. That's Sergeant Gabriel Corbett of the United States Marine Corps, honored before a packed house here at Turner Field. With Memorial Day tomorrow, as you spend your time with your friends and family and the barbecues and the time at the beach, hope you sit back and think about what folks like Sergeant Corbett do for all of us.
Did you see the video of, I believe it was the 3rd Infantry Division, and what they were doing at Arlington Cemetery? Was that not amazing? Yeah. 240,000 some flags that they were placing at grave sites in Arlington. It was not just moving, just so honorable and wonderful.
And that is such a poignant shot as our hometown heroes walk up the aisle through the stands, the hugs, the handshakes, the simple signs of gratitude. 40 years ago, that shamefully didn't happen enough, as d'Arnaud takes care of Ichiro for the first out. So great that so many express their appreciation, which seems so inadequate. One out for Martin Prado, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. Eric O'Flaherty, the 3rd Braves pitcher. And delivers a strike.
Been bragging on the Braves bullpen and their work against the Marlins. How about that bullpen that O'Flaherty was part of with Johnny Venters and Craig Kimbrell?
Game was over often after 6, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Was that the year that Eric had a sub-1 ERA?
Might have been.
I don't think that had ever happened before.
It was like 0.75 or something.
Something ridiculously low. As Prado awaits a 2-2 pitch. And he guides that one inside the first base bag. Boy, do we see Prado do that a lot with the Braves. And Martin has a stand-up double with one out. And the Marlins pick up their 7th hit.
Well, this is just so Martin Prado. Look at that. Watch his hips. Everything's going to the third base dugout, but the ball's going down the first base line. He was moving on his heels, but somehow still had that pitch covered.
He's a free agent at the end of this year. The kind of year he's having, an all-star worthy year, I would think, for the Marlins. I'll bet you he attracts a lot of interest at the end of this campaign. Christian Yelich is the batter. He's singled and he's made a great catch. Actually, 2 of them. And a strike.
Prado is 32. He'll be 33 in October.
Ground ball towards short. D'Arnaud sets and fires high. Freeman got the tag down with Yelich charging in. Boy, it's a dangerous play for both the defender and the base runner. And Freddie took some punishment after the high throw from D'Arnaud. Runner at second, now 2 outs.
Both teams holding their breath. Throw was high, pull Freddie in the line. Freddie with the bad wrist, you know, and Yelich with a bad back. And Christian didn't know where to go to get out of the way. And Freddie was already grimacing, if you saw that, when he came down.
Cliff Floyd destroyed his wrist on a play like that. Caught a ball, base runner came in, multiple fractures of the wrist and forearm. Thankfully, looked like Freddie came out of that all right. And Ozuna intentionally walked. And it's lefty-lefty for Justin Bour.
Now watch Freddie come down here and watch his face. Already teeth clenched.
And it won't be Bour, but it will be Chris Johnson, former Brave. 2 on, 2 out for Chris. Up the middle, a base hit. Here comes Prado around third. Inciarte's throw is headed home. It's going to be late. And Chris Johnson takes the ball right back up the middle. And that extends the Miami lead now to 4-1.
Look what Gordon Beckham was doing. Did you see him? He had been bird dogging the runner at second, Prado. And he was moving back to his left when the ball was hit up the middle, so he had to change directions. Couldn't get to it. Inciarte's throw hit off the side of the mound a little bit, and that's why it kicked over to the first base side.
So Don Mattingly with his strict platoon at first base. Chris Johnson hitting against the lefty, not Bour, and he's rewarded with a base hit. But Norris is up and throwing. Brief meeting will buy him a few extra tosses in the Atlanta bullpen. play foul for Dietrich, who's had a big day today. He's walked, he's singled, he's hit a 2-run home run. His home run measured at 432 feet. I mean, that's almost Giancarlo Stanton-esque to hit a ball that far.
It was a long one, halfway up the terrace level.
No balls, 2 strikes. And that knocked the mask off of A.J. Pierzynski's head. He's all right. Still 0-2.
Really glad he had it on.
Tried to steal a strike there, but it was low. 1-2. Little cloud cover over the ballpark now. Nothing serious, but boy, that's giving the fans on the first base side some relief. They have been sun-baked all day. And a fly ball deep center. Inciarte on the run. He's still going. He's still going. It's over his head and off the base of the wall. 2 runs are going to score. Dietrich has had a 4 RBI day. He clears the bases with his 2nd extra base hit of the afternoon, and that makes it 6-1.
He hit a home run on a low inside fastball from Tehran. This ball was really low. He went down and got something out over the plate and almost hit it out over center field. Inciarte lost that. When he turned around, he couldn't find it again.
So the intentional walk strategy did not work, unfortunately. Chris Johnson with an RBI hit. Derek Dietrich with a career high 4 RBI game, and the Marlins have broken it open. It's 6-1. Is what has been the most pleasant surprise this season? Tweet us at Fox Sports South using Braves Surprise, and your answer could be read during our Braves Live post-game show. Busy day out of the Atlanta bullpen again. Ogando, O'Flaherty, and now Bud Norris. He'll try to clean things up against Rojas, with Miami enjoying a 6-1 lead.
Bud worked the first game of this series. An inning, a hit, a walk, but no runs across.
Rojas has an RBI today. A fourth inning ground out brought home Marcelo Zuna that gave Miami a 1-0 lead. And a swing and a miss. By and large, Bud's done pretty good work out of the Atlanta bullpen. Even though he's given up single runs in 2 of his last 3 outings. He's got a 2.25 ERA in 10 games out of the bullpen, covering 16 innings.
Bud's fastball's had good life on it from the first day of the season. Been up around 93, 94.
Two and two. That's rolled toward short. Tricky hop. d'Arnaud stayed with it and threw a strike to first. And that takes care of Miami in the 7th inning. They score 3 times with 2 outs. Dietrich with a big home run and a double, a 4 RBI performance. And Miami, trying to get out of town and avoiding a sweep, enjoys a 6-1 lead here in Atlanta before a sellout crowd at Turner Field. And as always, on our home Sundays, we will welcome Timothy Miller to the center of the diamond, where, wearing his trademark tuxedo, he'll perform a splendid rendition of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my
Park season tickets are officially on sale. They start at as little as $7 per game for A-list members. Act quickly to get the best seats before they're gone. Go to Braves.com/SunTrust Park and get your tickets today.
Won't be long.
Won't be long indeed.
Just looking at Kohler's start so far on the year, his longest outing is 7 innings. He's done that twice.
And I'll tell you what, he has risen to the occasion. Early on, it appeared he did not have his best stuff, but it's been good enough today to hold the Braves to 1 run and 1 hit. Chris Johnson stays in the game. He'll play first base as Nick Markakis will get things started for the Braves. Nick is 1 for 2 with a double. That came back in the 4th inning. Marlins head home to face the Pirates. The Braves wait at home to face the San Francisco Giants here tomorrow, 1 o'clock. First pitch.
Giants just knocked off the Rockies 8-3. Johnny Cueto, who will not pitch in the series. It's probably a good thing for the Braves. He's been really good.
This one's popped up. Who wants it? Dietrich will give way. Rojas has it. There's out number 1. We'll see Buster Posey come to town with the San Francisco Ball Club. 6 years ago today, Buster Posey debuted in the major leagues. Didn't start at catcher. He was the first baseman that day for the Giants, and in his first big league game went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs.
And everybody that passed on him in the draft scratched their head and said, what were we thinking?
AJ's driven in the only Atlanta run tonight, or today I should say. He's playing game number 1,900 behind the plate. He's gone over 2,000 games, but DH, maybe some first base. 1,900 games as a catcher. And 3 pitches has him out number 2. And Johnson handles the throw at first base. Kohler is pitching like a man possessed all of a sudden. 10 in a row have been set down.
Is that his first strikeout?
That is his first strikeout. Little pop into center. That'll get down in front of Ozuna. Adolis Garcia with a 2-out hit. And the second base hit for the Braves. A strike. Game of the World tonight is in New York, where the Dodgers will face the New York Mets. Clayton Kershaw will face Bartolo Colon. After some, shall we say, excitement last night?
Yeah, I'll say.
Chase Utley back in New York for the first time since his collision with Ruben Tejada. He has been booed and heckled every time he steps onto the field. And I think it's safe to say he took care of business as well as could be expected last night.
Yeah, after they threw a pitch behind him and Noah Syndergaard was thrown out, it seemed to be pretty ridiculous. That's the consensus for most people, that it was unnecessary to throw out Syndergaard. He didn't hit him. He didn't throw at him. He threw the ball behind him. And then Utley responded with 2 homers, including a slam.
Dodgers won that game by a final score of 9-1. And in case you missed it with New York, Lucas Duda's got a stress fracture in his back. The Mets made a deal with the Padres and acquired James Loney in a strict cash transaction. They needed some help at first base. Loney's a good hitter, not a lot of power, and a good defender at first.
Yeah, it's a good acquisition for them. I don't know how James is swinging the bat this year, but can definitely play some first base.
Full count for d'Arnaud. Runner goes, and strike 3 inside corner. That takes care of Atlanta. 2 hits for the Braves, 2 strikeouts for Kohler, and he has thrown 7 innings at Turner Field.
Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Follow Braves baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and your tablet. Packed house in Atlanta as we head to the 8th. It's 6-1 Miami in Game 3 of the series. Jeff Mathis is 1 for 3. He singled last time up. And boy, he's done a nice job with Tom Kohler in this game. Kohler, as we showed you, had an awful time in his first 5 starts. His last 4 starts, a sub-3 ERA, no wins. That's how he pitched today. Very effectively wild. And he's allowed only 1 run on 2 hits.
When he got those 2 runs in the 6th inning, that home run from Dietrich, it seemed to, I don't know, allow him to relax, knowing he could make a mistake or 2, and as a result started throwing more strikes and more quality strikes.
And he's in the on deck circle for Don Mattingly, trying to avenge a blistering Braves handed him back on April 16th. 2-2. And Norris takes care of Mathis. There's the first out. 1 away in the Miami 8th. Got a note a minute ago. Know what kind of a rough season it's been for the Cincinnati Reds. They've got another member of that organization going to the disabled list beginning tomorrow. Our pal Tommy Brenneman is going to have a vocal cord operation. That's going to cost him, he said, a couple of weeks. He said it's not considered serious, but it's something that needs to be taken care of. It was termed a preventative surgical procedure. So Tommy, who's one of the great voices in the game, along with his dad Marty on the Reds broadcasts, will be on the disabled list for hopefully a very short period of time, and hopefully we'll be able to see him when we get to Cincinnati after the All-Star break. So Tommy, if you're watching, good luck with the surgery and get well soon.
You're here. I love him doing football too.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Kohler is down swinging. Norris with back-to-back punch-outs has set down all 3 Marlins hitters he's faced. That's a bit of good news on what's been a disappointing Game 3 for the Braves. And back to the top, and Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro needs 39 hits for 3,000. And he's 0 for 4. He's hit the ball in the air 3 times. Maybe a matter of semantics when you look at the resume of Ichiro Suzuki. When he broke in with Seattle in 2001, he'd already had 9 professional seasons in Japan. But in 2001, when he hit 350, he was the Rookie of the Year.
And MVP.
And MVP in the American League. As this one's golfed towards center. Good jump by Inciarte, and that will retire the side. But Norris has faced 4. He's retired them all. It's 6-1 Miami lead.
Is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, the Georgia Lottery, and Synovus, the bank of here.
6-1 Miami. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning, and that's where the line starts for the Chris Stapleton concert for field access.
Some Chris Stapleton lookalikes.
Braves Summer Concert Series, always one of the more popular promotions during baseball season. We've got Flo Rida coming later this summer. Or his dad would have said, Florida.
You'd want to know if it was the entire state. Malik's 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter. And a stern throw back from Mathis to Kohler.
Who has issued 4 walks in this game. One of them has scored. And that is walk number 5. That is 4 straight games for Kohler where he's issued a base on balls, or issued 5 bases on balls, I should say, and it's hard to figure.
Mathis thought that was a strike. He was set to throw the ball back and double clutched. Nobody loosening in their pen.
Kohler's at 99 pitches with Inciarte up there, and drops in for a strike. That's hit in the right field. That'll drop in front of Ichiro. Mallex Smith around second. He's standing at third, and the Braves have a rally, first and third, with nobody out, and the big bats lurking late.
Now their bullpen will get up. Kyle Barraclough begins to throw. It's awfully fun, folks, when you see Mallex Smith at first base, and when he knows it's a base hit, doesn't have to wait to see it drop and see him go first to third. Doesn't take him long.
And Juan Nieves will make his way to the mound. That'll buy Barraclough a few more tosses. He just got up. This will also give Tom Kohler a chance to catch his breath. 6-1 Miami. Braves have been out hit 9-3.
Chance for a big inning, though, against a pitcher who's probably running out of gas a little bit at 101 pitches.
Back up the middle and off the glove of Dietrich. All hands are safe. It's 6-2.
Looked like Dietrich was going to get there on this slider that was hit off the end of the bat. But he had his glove turned palm down to catch that ball. He didn't have it turned over. He basically just kind of spiked it straight into the ground.
So we await the official scoring on the play. Freeman's up there with an 0-for-2 game. And Don Mattingly will very slowly make his way to the mound. When he does that, looks so much like Lou Piniella, it's scary. Shoulders slumped, kind of leaning forward, working the silent clock to give his bullpen a little more time to work. The entire Marlins infield gathers atop the mound, and that's going to be the end of the line for Tom Kohler, who was very wild early, walked 5, but still will leave with a lead of 6-2 in Game 3.
is sponsored by Delta Airlines and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
We've got Chris Stapleton tonight. We've got Flo Rida on Saturday, June 25th. A free post-game concert, part of the Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines Summer Concert Series. You don't want to miss it. Go to Braves.com and get your tickets today.
This guy pitched a couple of nights ago and was impressive and also had some trouble. He struck out the side, but he also gave up a walk to Markakis and a base hit to Jeff Francoeur in the process. Throws hard, 95 to 97 fastball with a good slider.
So with one swing of the bat, Freddie Freeman could make it a one-run game. Freddie is 0 for 2. Yelich robbed him back in the 4th inning with a catch up against the wall and left.
Freeman is 1 for 1 against him.
Strike one.
Marlins outfielders are deep. Just trying to prevent an extra base hit the best they can.
Braves have good speed aboard, and NCRT and Beckham. And nobody out. Runners go. Pitch a ball through to third. Late double steal. How about that surprise party?
Talk about a big play. And Rojas was really bird dogging Inciarte big time at second base. But a big hop and then a jump before the pitcher ever threw the ball. Question was, could Ender keep his foot on the bag? Barraclough was not looking at him.
2 balls and a strike. 3-1 now. Both clubs grumbling about the strike zone. How about that pitch?
Wow, what a 3-1 changeup. Actually, it was like a slurve. Nice time to add that to your repertoire.
Now a payoff pitch coming. And Freeman didn't get a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. What a comeback by Barraclough. Behind in the count, 3-1. The next 2 pitches were strikes, and that's the first out of the inning. He's pumped up, and now he'll face Jeff Francoeur. Yelich took away a hit from Jeff in his last at bat. He's also walked and scored tonight.
Started both Freeman and Francoeur with a slider. Jeff's got to be thinking nothing but dead red. Fastball, ready to jump on a good one. And you want him taking a real good hack in his first 2 swings.
Well, there was was the dead red, and he took it. Ripped foul back.
Well, he's one of the guys you want up there right now, the way he's been swinging the bat, no matter what the count is. 8 for his last 14 coming in, 6 for 9 in this series in the first 2 games.
Way high, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tried to do to him what he did to Freeman, and that's elevate it. Francoeur didn't offer. You have to respect his fastball. He's throwing at 97 and then adjust to anything else.
Breaking ball, fly ball, center field. That'll get 1 run home. Ozuna with the catch. Enciarte tags. The throw comes toward third. It's a sac fly and an RBI for Francoeur. That cuts the lead to 6-3, but it cost the Braves a precious second out.
All set up by the stolen bases.
So 14 RBIs for Francoeur. That run charged to Tom Kohler. And here's Nick Markakis, who, as you said earlier, hates hitting with nobody on base and 2 outs. Well, he's got a man at second and could make things much more interesting with a base hit here.
Yeah, 2-out knock here would be nice. He walked Nick 2 nights ago. Great numbers in this situation.
Knee high strike evens it up. The wind has been swirling the last inning or 2. It was blowing toward right. Now it's blowing out toward left. Barraclough will provide the power. Let's see if Nick can square one up.
He's had that backdoor slider to the left. He's measured pretty well. Shook off a couple of signs from Mathis.
And he's not sure.
Well, each time he's gotten ahead, he's elevated his fastball to see if they'll chase. And as hard as he throws, it's a great pitch, a great weapon. And maybe Mathis hasn't quite figured it out that he wants a fastball, but not in or out necessarily. So let's see what it is that he wanted.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Chris Johnson guarding the line at first base with Markakis up. The Miami outfield, regular depth in left and right. Ozuna very deep in center. Swing and a miss. And the Braves are done in their half of the 8th inning. They score a couple of runs. They are charged to Tom Koehler. He leads it 6-3 now going to the 9th. And Andrew Jones into the Braves Hall of Fame at a Friday luncheon on August 19th. Get your tickets before they're all gone. All guests are guaranteed to sit with a current or former Braves player, coach, alumnus, or Hall of Fame member. Call 404-614-2310 for more information or to order your tickets today. Time for the 9th inning. Ian Krol is on. He is the 4th reliever to follow Julio Teheran this afternoon. And this is game number 12 for Ian.
He worked against the Marlins 2 days ago and got his first win with a perfect inning. Be really cool for him to put a goose egg up there and get another win with a rally in the 9th, bottom of the 9th.
Martin Prado leads things off for the Fish here in game 3. He's walked, doubled, and scored. And Krol delivers a strike. A sellout crowd, over 50,000 in attendance at Turner Field today. 50,407 officially. The Braves trail by 3. They have 3 outs left. Line towards second, and Gordon Beckham is there for the first out. Yelich back in the starting lineup for Miami for the first time since May 20th. He's been battling back spasms. Yelich with a 1-for-4 day.
I got a base hit his first time up.
And looked pretty mobile, no problems in the outfield. In fact, he's made a couple of terrific plays out there.
And looks like he suffered no ill effects from that collision with Freddie Freeman last time up.
One ball, one strike. That's bounced into the Miami dugout. And did that get somebody? Yep, I think it did. That's Derek Dietrich. They can't lose him. 1-2 pitch is out of play.
No, they can't. And that one was one of those that just looked like it skimmed over the top of the rail, but below the roof of the dugout.
One ball, 2 strikes.
I think AJ and Barry Bonds were having a little discussion there, having some fun. Barry was saying, go ahead, I got this covered over here, I'll protect him.
Ground ball right side. Yelich is going to be the second out. Do you remember when they put the netting in front of the dugouts here at Turner Field around Major League Baseball?
I don't. I mean, as far as I know, those nets have been up there since day one of Turner Field.
But there was a time in other ballparks where there was absolutely no protection at all for the players. It was wide open.
Christian Yelich, of course, wants to know what happened.
Here's Marcell Ozuna. And we keep showing that shot of Dietrich, not because there's morbid curiosity, but as a Georgia Tech kid, I'm sure he has lots of friends and family that are probably either here at the game or are watching it around Metro Atlanta in the Southeast and want to make sure that he's all right. Fly ball hammered center. Inciarte back, not getting that. Marcell Ozuna has another big hit for Miami. A 2-out solo home run makes it a 7-3 game. And for Ozuna now, 46 hits this month. If there's a hotter hitter than he, I'd like to know who it is.
And he knew it as soon as it left his bat.
So the Marlins have hit 2 homers today, one by Dietrich, one by Ozuna. Four runs allowed today by the Atlanta Relief Corps. 3 to Eric O'Flaherty, 1 charge to Ian Kroll. And 2 strikes for Chris Johnson, who has an RBI hit that came in the Miami 7th. And the inning is over. 1 run, 1 hit. More importantly, Derek Dietrich still down in the Miami dugout and being attended to by their training staff. Really hope he's all right. He's sitting up, which is a good sign, but he got smoked on a foul ball here in the top of the 9th. Fox Sports Southeast. Join us for a day game as they host the San Francisco Giants. It's Braves Giants tomorrow with coverage beginning at 12:30 Eastern on Fox Sports Southeast and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. A.J. Ramos is going to come on and work the Atlanta ninth inning.
He's done a nice job for them. Perfect in saves, 15 for 15. Excellent ERA. Low 90s fastball. A lot of sliders and a changeup.
New look up the middle for Miami defensively. Danny Echeverria will check in to play shortstop. And Rojas will slide from short to second. Derek Dietrich, as you saw as we went to break, was able to walk down these steps from the dugout and make his way to the Marlins clubhouse. So A.J. Pierzynski leads off for Atlanta. He's 0 for 2 with an RBI. That RBI, a sacrifice fly that tied the game 1-1 in the fourth. Miami got 2 runs in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, and 1 in the 9th. And an even count. Steve Cishek was the Marlins closer at the start of last season, but things spiraled out of control for Cishek. Then Ramos took over, and the rest, they say, is history. They've found themselves an excellent late inning relief man. Ramos was 32 out of 38 in saves last year.
Yeah, and as we said, 15 for 15 this year.
And he didn't become the closer until May 13th, so he was terrific. Echeverria will be tested. Nearly fell over as he made that play. And A.J. Pierzynski is out number 1 here in the 9th. Adonis Garcia is 1 for 3 in the game. And hitting .255 for the year. Julio Teheran started the game for the Braves. Willed his way through 5 1/3 innings today. He got everybody's heart racing in the 4th inning when he was flexing his right leg, right foot, right knee. We're not sure what was bothering Julio, but something clearly was. It was not particularly sharp. After giving up a 1-out double to Bohr and the Dietrich 2-run homer in inning number 6, that was the end of the line for Julio, who at the time of his departure had 1 run and 1 hit of offensive support.
He was really laboring today.
Yeah.
A lot of pitches for outs.
So as you suggested earlier, that will be question number 1 for Brian Snitker once our Fox Sports cameras get into the Braves locker room on Braves Live. That's presented by Xfinity, and that will follow us. And strike 3 inside corner. Garcia wasn't expecting that. Nice pitch from Ramos. 2 up and 2 down. And the final hope for Atlanta's Chase d'Arnaud, the man who started at shortstop for the first time for the Braves today, is 0 for 3. 1-0 in 2. And another slider ends the ball game. Ramos was very impressive. Tom Koehler was awfully tough as well, with 7+ innings of 3-run ball and only 3 hits. For the first time in 6 starts, Miami wins a game started by their king-sized right-hander, and they avoid a 3-game sweep and win the wrap-up of the series by a final of 7-3. We'll wrap things up for you from a sold-out Turner Field right after this.